Hi, this is Vicki Fairchild. Today I wanted to talk about the time I experienced real empathy because it changed the way I approach parents from that point on. I was pregnant. I was 34. I was really excited. I was having my first child. I had bought one of those daily progression books where it explains everything that's happening in the pregnancy for that day. I forced my husband to listen to me read from the book every day. And I was just overcome with feelings of joy and emotion over the fact that I was going to be having a child. And it was something, though, that I didn't share with anyone. Maybe it was because of my age. I'd known quite a few women who had had miscarriages, but I decided to keep it quiet. And about 2 months into my pregnancy, and so I was all in and no one knew about the pregnancy, I started spotting. And I contacted my doctor and we had an appointment. I tried to tell myself that everything was going to be fine, that the baby was going to be fine. Spotting happens. Of course, I researched the internet, and spotting just sometimes happens, and that's what I told myself. And I thought everything was going to be okay. So I went into the appointment, and it wasn't okay. And I could tell almost immediately. I was laying there and the doctor was examining and looking and examining and looking, and I was holding my breath and I was praying, and then she gave me the news that the baby had ceased to grow, the baby had stopped growing, and that the pregnancy wasn't going to be viable. I was devastated. And I was all alone. And, some people say that it was only 2 months and the baby, but for me, that baby was so real. And I didn't know what to do. And I was so lucky because, I'm sure the doctor had to give that news before. She just sat there with me and she cried with me. And she really felt what I was feeling. I was in such a safe space, and she didn't rush me as I just absorbed the news that the child who I thought I was going to have was no longer. And in that, later, as I reflected about that experience that was so hard, I realized how important it was for me in that moment that my doctor share my pain, that my doctor have that emotional openness to really allow me to break down in front of her, that she not rush me, that she didn't. She let me lay there. She let me take my time. She processed it with me. And she was so kind. And it hit me that this is exactly what I needed. And then when I thought about so many of the parents that I worked with who had come in and I had given them the devastating news, I realized I needed to be exactly like my doctor. I needed to feel it with them. They couldn't feel rushed. They had to be able to know, they had to feel and know that I knew what I was saying was hard, that I knew that they were hurting and that it was okay. That moment where I experienced such devastation changed how I told parents about disabilities, because I really knew what they needed to feel from me.